Alrighty, now we are live and we are doing this thing. So today's blend of the day, right? It consists of 3 ingredients only, right? Like I'm trying to go through and create a narrative that allows for the application of what it is we're working with. And today's ingredients are going to be red storax or storax bark. This is going to be hydron root again, and then we're going to play with horsetail. Horsetail we haven't played with for a while. It was some of the original ingredients that I did in the challenge initially. And the thing about horsetail is its relation to the fern plant is incredible. But it's also ancient. They've been pulling fossils of this stuff out of the dirt for a long time. And so it's one of the traditional ancestral antiseptics, right? Like if you've got horsetail, you can use it to staunch the blood flow if you've cut yourself out in the world. You want to mind your allergies with this shit because you don't, necessarily, you got to make sure that the horsetail is clean and before you start applying shit on open wounds. And there's a whole thing with medical, like, shit with the application thereof. So, with that being said, storax has it. Sorry about the noise, guys. Storax has an interesting little bit of application to it because it's not one of those that's commonly used anymore. And so this is an herb for truthfulness and honesty. As a religious herb, storax can be used to honor Hermes, Loki, Mercury, or Thoth. The lessons of truthfulness are also shown when studying the tarot, and the storax is best served to understand any of the eights within the suits. So if you've got a spell of conjuring shit out of the eights of the tarot cards, right? Like you're using it for magic, you're using it for that particular purpose, and you want it to stay within a specific attachment, right? These are the kinds of things that we're doing with those ingredients. And I'm just trying to set the camera. There we go. So, while you're using storax, one of the other things is a balsam. Okay? And as a balsam, it's in the same kind of family as the cottonwood, which is the balm of Gilead, or the little buds, right? So it's similar relations, but its effectiveness for bringing truth and for bringing manifestation and empowerment is also really important. And so with this, that'll be our base. And so today, because we're dealing with such high potency herbs, we're not going to use a lot of them, okay? Also, because these suckers are a bitch to grind down, I'm going to use a teaspoon of this stuff, right? And that's, again, why I'm using the heavier duty mortar and pestle, is because this stuff will shred through those ingredients quite nicely. The horsetail, again, this is going to be for willpower. This is an invasive, right? So where Trevor from the Brotherhood of Male Witches group, like, so guys, if you're a witch and you're a guy and you want to go talk to other guys about the masculine aspects of witchcraft, go hit up that fucking group. It's baller. But with horsetail, it's invasive. So like the mugwort, like it can overrun the area, or like peppermint. But it's not as symbiotic as like oak moss or the mistletoe, right? It doesn't carry those benevolent aspects. This is a more direct, I'm going to take control and I'm going to route through whatever is standing in the way, right? And so we use a little one for today, see if I can't get that shit going down. But what we're going to do is I'm going to shave the hydron, right? And so again, using a microplane or a carpenter file, you just use this. Like I said, this is basically a carpenter file. It's rounded, so all the stuff coming off the herb goes into the pot where I'm making it. And so again, releasing the virtues from one pod or one full seed of the hydron root is different than using a full tonka bean, right? Because this is hardy enough. It's got the robust enough. It's got the energy dense enough to be able to deal with that. So as you're conjuring out your effect from these things, right? You want to think about it. All right. So with the horsetail, My will is going to override the environment with the truthfulness, the forthrightness, the forward movement supplemented by the storax, right? And then the power applied via the whorehound to make it all go. So again, this is another one of those kind of like the first day of the week where it's the new year, we're doing new types of spellcraft, we're doing really, really specific things that can all stack together. So we can use day one's blend, day two's blend, day's three blend, and today's blend to create that flow, right? So like on day one, according to my notes here, it was about drawing out general purpose and in alignment with the environment. So that way you work as a symbiotic relationship to it, right? And then the next day, it was drawing out the inner spirit, the inner desire of somebody, right? Like if you've got an idea that's inside of you and you need to draw it out of them, that's the blend you can use to do it. And then yesterday's blend, it was about creating the shift of thought that's required to put that into action. And today's blend is straight up fucking action. So again, using the High John root in combination with the horsetail and the storax is similar in fashion to the way that the High John was applied to the mistletoe, the copal, and the althea. Similar blend, different effect, right? More intense, more vibrant, more application for it. And so as you go through, again, you want to mind your allergies with this stuff. You don't want to smoke this stuff particularly. You can use this to awaken talismans. You can use this for if you're going to do an anima summoning, right? I call forth the spirit of the genus Loki that stands within this space and draw it forth, right? And so while you grind down the herbs, right, it's them in combination will elicit a response. It will draw out that meaning behind it. It will share with it the oneness of everything becoming one together, right? And so that's what we're doing every time we create the herbal blend, is we are creating a oneness out of many, right? From the singular, each individual, we are creating a collective. And through that collective, we are creating purpose. And that purpose is what we trance in. We put in mental clarity, right? We build an attachment. We build that attunement to the purpose of the ingredients that we're going to use, right? And again, so this becomes what I'm referring to as the law of narration, right? Is the narrative of form. Is like, what form will it take? Why will it take that form? And it's as it grows together, as you weave your spells together, right? There is a story that they want to tell. There is a thing in relation to you that you're going to become inspired by, the exact application of how this should be used in your work. And so as you do that, as you're creating these kinds of things, you're being very, very specific, very, very myopic on, this is the conjuration I'm going to do, this is the reason why I'm doing it, this is what it's going to be used for, even if at the outset you don't have any particular idea. And so that's what I mean by evoking the spirit of the plants when you use them. It's like, you know you have to build a spell. You know you have a purpose to serve somebody with the thing that you're doing, right? But you let them tell you how to do it. You let the tarot cards guide you with the remedy, right? You let the bones guide you with the remedy. You ask the spirits of the things to give you the information that you need in order to be able to fix the situation for somebody else, or to fix the situation for yourself. And so that's what's really nice about this one, right? But I'm going to tell you right now, like, if you're grinding down bark, it's way different than grinding down like fluffy things like horsetail and lavender, right? And it's just going to take a little bit more oomph. But the whole idea is that with this, you get that potency, you get that attunement, right? And it's also about having the right kind of tools to be a foundation, right? Like, this thing is granite, the microplane, and the metal of the measuring spoons, right? So all of those things are going to be high industrial use. So if you're going out and buying tools, make sure that you only have to buy maybe one or two of the different kinds of things. Like, you've got one mortar and pestle that's for poisons, one mortar and pestle that's for resins, and one that's for general use magical herbs. You can also have one that's specifically only for cooking herbs, right? Like you've got one that you keep in your kitchen that's only for making like the herb blends to make like spaghetti sauces and shit like that, right? And I'm not even talking about magic. I'm just talking about just keep one in the kitchen and then keep your magical shit separate so that way you don't accidentally poison yourself if you leave something in the bowl, right? But having something that can shred through the bark, shred through the heavier implements, is something that I would definitely recommend be one of the first things that you buy, because there's certain mortar and pestles that just can't do this kind of job. They just can't. They're like, you'll just be sitting there for like 40 minutes trying to grind this shit down, like those soapstone ones, man. Like, those piss me off. It's like, yeah, it's pretty, yeah, but, you know, it's about making sure that your tools can do the job you need them to, right? And so that's why I really love having found this particular one, because this is, out of all the years, probably one of my favorite mortar and pestles, and I found it in an antique shop. Like, straight up. Like, this came out of an antique shop. Like, this was on sale. Like, it was just, like, meant to be. It was great. But, you know, again, you just want to make sure that you can source the ingredients and source your tools, right? You don't have to buy brand new shit. You can go through and find stuff in antique shops. It's great stuff to do, right? It's like, that's how I started getting a lot of my early alchemical gear, right? Like, I'd go and I'd see the beakers and the flasks and shit that these people were selling, and it's like, ooh, okay, reagent bottles that are cheap. Oh, a beaker? A boiling flask? Okay, let's fucking do this shit. And so that's how I got into alchemy in the first place, was going through the antique shops and figuring out, okay, well, how can I put this into Second Life, right? How do I still get to use it for its purpose, right? And then I'm all thinking, like, all right, did somebody who, like, owned this stuff, were they an alchemist? Were, like, they doing, like, this shit? And it's like, all right, well, I'm just carrying on the legacy that they had this shit for in the first place, right? They could have been a science teacher and they brought it home, or they were studying science and they just needed to get rid of it or whatever. That's not really the point. The point is that it puts it back into use for sacred purpose, right? And so that way, when you're going through and you're doing these kinds of things, right? It's all about truth in action and willpower behind it, right? Putting it to sacred purpose. And that is what this blend is for, I think. Is, all right, we've done the work. We've done the prep work for everything we've done this week, right? And then this is going to be the thing that puts it into action. This is the boulder that gets kicked down the hill and lit on fire, right? Just absolute, just like, let's just fucking roll with it. So, when you're sourcing your tools, remember, make sure they're going to be able to be functional for what you need. If you get multiples of different tools, different colors, different materials, different types, then they're going to serve different purposes, right? One you use baneful herbs only. One you use only resins. Like, soapstone is pretty okay for resins. It's kind of a bitch to get them out of the particles out of the bowl. You can use a little bit of salt to break them up, and then you just wash it out accordingly. But like this one, it just washes clean with soap and water, man. Like, this is just great for that. The porcelain one that I use, I get at a Scientific Supply, so it's really good for getting stuff really fine. This is a good coarse blend. Like, yeah, you can get fine powder, but it's good for the coarser ingredients because it is so heavy, because there is that weight that you can put behind it, and it doesn't hurt your hand to hold it and everything like that. So, anyway, my friends, mind your allergies with the horsetail and the high john and the storax today. So, be safe, and I will see you in a couple of hours for the right in the afternoon. Alrighty, my friends. See you in the comments, and stay safe. Bye for now.